Yes,
Woo!
Hello, I was dancing.
Me too. I was dancing as I got ready for the podcast tonight too. So like I told you, I'm just all hot and sweaty anyways, but whatever.
Oh my gosh, I
Happy
missed.
2025.
Yes, I miss you so much, and I
Miss you.
miss this meeting. So,
Me
but it
too.
was a good time that we at least
But
take a little bit of a week to be able to reset
yeah.
ourselves and also to come back strong for 2025. I think we
Yeah.
deserve it.
I do want to apologize to the audience. We did intend to do a New Year's Eve or New Year's Day podcast, but with Indira traveling, I had family in from out of state and everything. We just didn't do it. And
Yeah.
we needed
And
that
it-
time.
yes, but let me tell you, I was talking about that with Tammy. I said I was able to take a few days, but there's always like a guilt that you feel.
Oh yeah.
And I think we have to learn to let that go, because in reality, we have to have a balance on everything. So
Yeah. I know it was weird because I didn't even open my office door and come in here that whole
oh,
time.
that's good.
It was really strange because I was kind of feeling that guilt too for the first couple of days. But when I got back into it and, getting work done, things like that, I realized how much I needed that time.
Yes.
I felt so rejuvenated. I felt creative again. And it was so good. It's so needed. Downtime is necessary.
That's necessary.
It is.
But today we wanted to give you a sneak peek of how the process of how we set our goals, how we set our intention for 2025, and in terms of our selection of the word of the year, the goals that we're setting, and talking about our process of how we're planning to achieve those goals. So we
Yeah.
thought that was important so you can get to know us a little bit more, and we can continue growing in our process.
Right. And also to give everybody else an idea of how to do this, because we think it's really important. And it doesn't have to be done exactly how we do it, but we'll tell you why we do it and why we think it's important for everybody else too.
Yes. So, would you like to start?
Sure.
One of the big questions that we've been even talking recently, it's about one simple word.
Yes.
What is the word that you think that is going to represent your year? The word of the year, how many people said?
Well, both of us have gone back and forth with what we thought our word was going to be for 2025.
Yeah.
I ended up going with simplify.
Oh, nice.
And it's funny because as I'm working through this, I'm realizing that simplification is a lot of work.
Yes.
Because what it means is for the first several months of this year, I have to get rid of so much stuff. And I don't mean just stuff. I mean, yeah, there's stuff in my house because I definitely want to downsize and simplify my life that way too. Because when there's stuff and clutter, I am stressed. But I want to simplify my life in all aspects. I really want to simplify my workload. And we'll get into this in a little bit too. Some more other announcements that we have coming about all the things that are going on for us in 2025. It's so exciting.
Yes.
But I just, it's going to take a lot of work to simplify. It's going to take more scheduling. I tried to do some time blocking, and that's not for me. I know you love it, and so many people do, but I have ADHD, so time blocking is not my thing. Scheduling, yes, time blocking is too rigid for me. So, but it is going to help me with the simplification of having my good schedule. And I've started, and we've talked about not having too many goals at once. Well, I kind of blew that, but I have a cure for that.
Okay.
I started staggering my goals. Like on the 1st of January, I did start one goal, and then each week or each 2 weeks, I'm adding the next goal as I've got one, kind of settled.
And this is why it's so important, because we have a completely different approach of how we're going to do it. So
Yes.
It's two different perspectives. When I say, oh my gosh, it's because that's one of the things that I missed to do last year, that it cost me not to schedule the time and be as little rigid on that.
Mhm.
So the word of the year that I selected was achieve. And initially, I wanted to select the word, another word, worthy. But then in the process of understanding, and I look back on my 2024, when I was doing the evaluation,
Mhm.
I noticed that there's many things that they were missing. And one of those ones was that discipline, because
Mhm.
I let that sometimes my focus, like get it, I'm focused on the way and all the other things around. And I say, okay, I need to go back to that discipline focused. And I thought, in order for me to achieve the results that I want, I definitely need to be intentional in the sense,
Yes.
yeah, prioritizing and the things that truly matters. And it's kind of, you say, simplify, not look
Mhm.
into everything, but just with specific things. Another thing is be courageous, because I have to overcome any fear that I can find. And last year was a great example that overcoming fear, we can achieve magical stuff, because this is an example of a
Mhm.
fear that we battle in order to overcome.
Yeah.
The discipline that I just mentioned, but also I noticed that the more I do something, my self confidence increase.
Oh,
So I think,
absolutely.
okay, with this word, I think it helped me in all the different areas. So that was my final choice.
Yeah. Well, simplify for me was necessary because when I look back at my 2024, a lot of it was chaos, because there was so many new things starting for me and I just kind of piled it all on myself. Well, I've got a much better grasp on what I want now and how I want to achieve it. And
Yes,
so simplifying it down is going to be necessary for me this year. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
that's great. And since we're talking about 2024, before we go into 2025, what lessons did you learn 2024 that you can apply in 2025?
Breathe.
Oh, I like that.
Because like I said, it was 2024 was kind of chaotic for me in a lot of aspects. And I am, I want everything. I'm kind of that person. I want to do everything and I want to do it all now. And that's why I said it was kind of chaos. And, when I got the idea for changing my business,
Mhm.
I went all in and kind of went crazy with it. And I need to not do that. A big lesson that I did learn with doing that is that I need to do things my way. And I mean, I have a great business coach. You and I have the same
Yes.
business coach. They're
Yeah.
fantastic. And they've given so many great ideas for both of us in our business. But I have learned that I need to take what they tell me and then apply it to
Tailored.
me, who
Yes.
do it my way. And Daniel's great with allowing that
Yes.
for us. He's like, okay, and then he's just so much energy. But
That's true.
I think that's the biggest thing for me is that I had to learn to do things my way
I like that
and make it
because,
mine.
yeah, that gives you the sense of honesty and authenticity that
Exactly.
belongs to you. Yeah, I love
Well,
that.
because there were times with the things that, I don't want to say what I'm being asked to do because your marketing coach doesn't ask you to do anything or tell you. They give you ideas.
Yes.
And there would be times that I would do ideas that I was given and I was like, I feel like I'm acting or something. And I don't
Mhm.
like that because I am very genuine
Yeah.
and I want people to see the real me. And
Yeah.
so that's something that I'm trying to get used to, especially with being out in the public more, the
Yeah.
whole all of
Yes.
this
Media. Yes. The social media.
is yeah, it's been so important for me to just be who I am because when somebody
Yeah.
works with me, if they see me out there, I want them to know what they're getting
Perfect.
so
Yes.
that they can say, I want to work with her or she's not my thing. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So the authenticity is a huge thing that I really thought about last year.
Oh, that's great. I love that word and the meaning behind.
Yes.
In my case, it was similar to you. Is like, for example, organization, and
Mhm.
organize more my time, all my activities, my
And you have
schedule,
so many.
yes, my kids, their schedules. So I definitely thought that if I took the time and organized everything in parallel, it will help us. It will help me and help them significant to be able to provide more and be able
Yeah.
to get the most out of the things. So I think that is the big lesson that I wanted to work for 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the scheduling is something that brings me to my next point, our next point that we can go back to 2024 if we want to. But I want to say this early on for people that have to leave is that we will be changing the day and time of the broadcast. We are going to be leaving Wednesdays because of scheduling and so many aspects. And we're going to be launching on Tuesday morning. This coming Tuesday, we are going to be attempting to launch at 7 a.m. on Tuesdays. So for anybody who's listening out there, make sure that you check us out then.
Yes.
We're hoping that'll work better for everybody involved and not be so late at night for all of us. Because I know when we get done with this, we're exhausted.
Yeah. And we really want to give the most out of this. And we think having these type of conversations in the morning, I think would add more value to the people because they can even listen in their way to work or something like that. And they can resonate with them. I think that's going to be a good change.
I think so too.
Yeah. So talking about then 2025 goals and stuff like that. You said that you have several goals and that you're doing kind of stacking.
Yeah.
Can you work us a little bit on that?
Sure. The main one for me is that I want to be consistent with my Bible study. That was the first thing I did. I started really being consistent with that on the 1st. That was my priority. And it has been fantastic. I've already told you some of the great things that have come out of it. It's like God is talking to me. I know.
Yes.
Like, ooh, but that's not what I mean.
But definitely when I saw your message, I asked you, did you wrote that?
Yeah, no, I've just been, it's the timeliness of the study that I'm in right now has just been phenomenal. So it's very exciting. And so I really feel like I'm on the right path. Another thing, and I don't have a launch date yet. This is something that I'm working toward. I have a couple different things that I'm working toward, but the next one is we are keeping this podcast. This is our baby. We're still doing this, but we both have plans since we have extremely different niches is branching out to have our own podcasts also at some point. So we'll actually be both working on 2 podcasts. And I'm sure that there are times that we'll probably cross over to each other's because although I'm a financial life coach and Indira is a leadership coach, we are both also certified in each other's.
Yes.
So I'm also a John Maxwell leadership coach, and she also has a lot of financial certification stuff. So it's very exciting. So you'll probably be seeing us more. Yay. I also am working on a new license that I'm studying my brains out for. So I'm really excited about that. So I can offer my clients more things because it's at a point now where I work with people and then at a certain point I have to hand them off to somebody else, when they start reaching certain goals. Well, becoming licensed in my next venture, then I won't have to hand them off to somebody else anymore. I'll be able to just continue on with them. I'm also branching out and I want to start working more for anybody listening with small businesses, entrepreneurs, help them make sure that they're reaching their financial goals and helping them prepare for future and growth. That's very, very exciting for me. I have a lot of goals with this stuff. I know that you and I both have talked about volunteering more, so we'll have to get into that.
Yes.
There's just a lot going on. And so, like I said, I've had to stack it a little bit because it's a lot. It's a lot to do on top of just, continuing building the business and clients and everything else.
And in my case, for example, when I was doing my assessment last year, I also have my goals like family, studies, any type of certifications. I even have it here, relaxation, hobbies, and physical. Like every year that I put it, all of them, travel. Yes, all of them. And then I said, okay, I really want to focus onto something. So I picked that I'm going to focus this year 100% of my attention to 2 things. My physical body, because I said, I need to remove that out of the way. Like I did last year. Remember, I said, I need to learn to swim. I'm going to swim it.
And you did?
I'm going to swim it. I did it. I focused on that. So I said, okay, I need to focus on my physical body, how that looks, and me feel comfortable and feel better on that. Because I said, with that, all the other things that I had, eating healthy and everything like cascade on that. And then the other one is that I'm going to focus.
Sorry. Yeah. Hold on one. You keep talking, but so you're going to hear barking in a second. Abigail has Nordy locked in a corner.
Okay. And the other one is focus on the business.
Yes.
because I'm going to put my attention, because since I have still working a full-time job that I have to dedicate a lot of attention, a lot of
Yep.
demanding. When you're managing people and they're looking for open new facilities that are going to require more, I said I cannot open myself so many other things. So I said
Right.
I'm going to focus on those two things, and like you said, simplify.
Yes.
And then there's many other things that I know that I had that I would like, but they will come along the way with the disciplines that we have. And for example, it will continue part of the process. But there's two different approach that we took. You wanted to escalate a little by little, stackle. And in my case, I said, oh, no, just only these two that I'm going to focus.
It's good. It's good. I mean, I definitely am going to be working more on my health and stuff too. That's something that I continually do
Yeah.
progress and I fall back and stuff. But for me, that's almost like I would say a background thought, because it's going to be something that I have to do every day, but it's not going to be like in my forefront of everything that I
Yeah.
have to do. I want that to just become a good habit again,
Yeah.
of getting my health back and
Yes, but
feeling better.
in my case, I stopped because of all the other
Yeah,
responsibilities, and I wanted to make it a integrated habit as
exactly. Me
eating
too.
in my personal life, and that will take me additional effort until I get there.
Yeah, it's so easy though to let everything in life interfere and sidetrack you. And then, of course, just coming off the holidays. I actually
Yes.
did so much better over the holidays than I thought I was going to do. It was good.
Yeah, that's great. But then, for example, do you think in any of those goals that you planned, is there any fear that you will face, or any new discipline that you have to
Oh yeah,
create? Okay.
absolutely. Um, it's going to be every time that we've talked about this before. I'm very much an introvert. So anytime that I put myself out there in front of people, it's a challenge for me. When I know somebody, it's you know me very well,
Yeah.
so you know that I'm kind of goofy and fun and whatever. But when I'm out there in the public, I'm a totally different person. I'm very, very reserved. And so, yeah, each time that I put myself out there, it's a little bit more difficult. And so, the thought of launching a solo podcast, like I said, this is a really big work for me, not just in the personal aspect of me having to put my face out there by myself, but just all the work that you have to do. There's lots of research, there's lots of education that goes into it and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
really trying to figure out what I want it to look like
Mhm.
is the hardest thing for me,
Yeah.
because it's not all. I'm not just a financial coach, because a lot of people, there's a great podcast out there. She's called The Budget Mom. She is amazing,
Mhm.
but she, really specifically
Precise.
works on budgets and that sort of
Yes.
thing. What I do is a little bit different,
Yeah.
because we definitely work on those sorts of things and money, but that's why I'm a financial life coach, because I like to integrate
The
the
mindset.
effects of your life on your finances. The
Yes.
reason why are you in this situation? I don't want to just teach you how to budget or how to save money. I want to find out your whys. And that
Mhm.
way you can find your whys. That's
Yeah.
why I want, I help people to break bad habits and all those things. So we have to really dive into what's going on in their life. And so what I do is a little bit different, and trying to figure out how I'm going to make that an interesting
Yes.
podcast. It's still something. So if anybody listening has an idea what you would like to see, let me know.
And let me tell you, that in my case is related to a similar thing, because you know that one of my biggest things is the professionalism, how things has to
Mhm.
be. And you keep me grounded all the time when we're trying to say, okay, but we're not going to do this. It's going to be this way. So that is a reminder. So that's one of the challenges of me. Oh, I go myself. I have to make sure that it's progress, not perfection. So it's a similar things that we're
That
facing.
was one of the most fun things for me, having come from a very rigorous corporate background, banking,
Yeah.
mortgage, real estate, all of that,
Yes.
to finally be able to just be, "La," is
Yes.
kind of fun for me,
Yeah.
So that's why you're still in
Yes.
corporate. So
Yeah.
it's like,
That makes sense.
have a little fun. But you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a
Oh,
lot
I
of fun.
enjoy what I do. I really, because I work with people a
I know you
lot.
talk about it all the time, not in a bad way, but I mean, every time you talk about anything with work, you always talk about it with such I don't know, it's so uplifting. You really love the people you work with. You
Yes.
honestly do. You always have
Yeah.
good stories about things that are going on at work and watching people grow, and I
And
don't know.
it's
I
and
love
there's
listening to your
challenges,
stories.
but I think even when those challenges, I say it, they say, "Oh, time to leadership teaching for me. So how can we do this better? How?" And it's like encompassed with my business because it's also
Mhm.
I'm learning as well and we're applying at the same time.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, sometimes when you talk about your job, it makes me miss those parts of being in corporate, is the camaraderie that you have, and there are
Yeah.
times I miss that. Not enough yet to go back, but there are
Yeah,
times. There are
but
times.
it's good. So, and the other thing that I was thinking about is that I asked myself, is this goal really stretching me and taking me
Mhm.
out of my comfort zone?
Exactly, 'cause otherwise it's not really growth.
Yes. So, for example, my fitness goal is not necessarily stretching me, it's just me building a consistent habit.
Mhm.
However, growth of my business is something that definitely I need to learn because there's so many skills, additional growth gaps that I need to close. And
Yeah,
we
me too.
mentioned, for example, improve our marketing, sales, even our skills and improving our speaking skill and all the other things. So
Mhm.
there's still growth learning all this technology behind is other things. So I think that goal really challenged me and forced me to continue growing and continue learning. So
Yeah.
I think that at least that one for me is a huge stretch.
Well, no, I agree. I think that, if we're not growing, we're not going. And
Yes.
like I told you, I had been praying a lot about God preparing me, to grow my business more and all of that. And then that LinkedIn thing happened.
Yes.
I had a company, I made a post on LinkedIn, and a company had actually responded and said, there's, powerful insights. And then they had some questions on what
Yes.
I posted. And I thought, oh, I'm on the spot.
Yeah. And you're adding value. That's what
Well,
is more important.
it was weird because at the time I thought, okay, I'm on the spot. And I was, like I said, I was getting ready to leave the house. And I was like, I got to answer this because I didn't want to leave anybody hanging. And so I answered their questions and I left. And then this morning you're like, do you know that company has a lot of following? And I'm like, I had no idea. Now I'm nervous. I'm like,
I know I'm
okay.
frozen. Yes.
So
But also, glad that you mentioned growing because I always follow um, Jim Rohn. I think that's one of my dad in personal growth because that's the first one that I got in contact to. And there's one phrase that he always mentioned. I think it's him of Henry David Thoreau, in which it says that it's not the goal. It's not necessarily like that, but that's what it means. It's not the goal that you put in yourself to, is the person you become by achieving that goal. So
mhm.
the fact that we put in goals that is stretching us, it's helping us grow. And that was the
Yes.
most important thing. And I want the audience to understand when you set a goal, if it's not stretching you, it's not the right goal for you. It has to
Right.
be something that really is stretching you. So I
Yeah.
said, my 100% goal this year is business. I said, my fitness is for me to put it
Yes.
in my front to understand I need to continue and build that discipline. But it
Yeah.
won't require as much energy and intentionality for my business because in my business, I have to become another person to continue growing and
Yes.
giving in the place that it has to go.
Yeah. Very, very true. It's funny because it reminds me of this. I heard a saying the other day. I'm trying to remember who said it. It was on Instagram. Somebody I follow on Instagram, and he said, "What did it say? What you're not changing, you're choosing."
Yes. Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
thought, "Oh, that
You
kind of
want
hit
me
me."
to tell you the close of 2024 that we were doing about a year in my company, again talking about company, that was the phrase that my boss started the conversation because he said, if we're not changing it, we're accepting it. So if
Exactly.
we're not coming with solutions for the problems that we have,
Yep.
you accept them. Don't come and complain. Now is the time that we see what we need to fix and look forward to 2025 in a different perspective. But
Yep.
I love that quote. I even wrote it down and said, oh my gosh, I love
Yep. I do
it.
too, and it's really inspired me to continue on my growth path because there are things in my personal life and in my business and everything else that I am not going to accept anymore, or accept at all. Not that I've already
Yeah.
accepted it, but I'm like, nope, I'm not going to accept that. I don't choose that. But something else I was thinking about, and it's something that I actually wrote my article on about this week, is that when you grow, it doesn't always mean like, for us, we're talking about growth and creating new habits and goals and stuff like
Yes.
that. But sometimes it also means of having to let go of things.
Yes.
So it's not always about just piling more on. Sometimes it's about relieving yourself of things that are holding you back or holding you down or something else. And that sometimes is almost more scary, is to let
Yes.
go.
Yeah, because I think because one of my issues is about timing last year. I'm reading this book, it's about time.
I love that
And
book.
there's one conversation in the book talking exactly about that. Because sometimes we feel guilty when we
Yes,
have to let a goal, for example, go. And it's not bad, like you said. We just need to reassess. We are not the same person we were last year.
exactly. Exactly.
So that's why every year it's important that we reassess
Yes.
our vision, where we
Yep.
going, what we wanted to do, and if that really aligned with our vision today. And that's so important to do.
I think it's important to do in so many aspects of your life. You need to evaluate your personal life,
Yeah.
in it, your finances, because a lot of things
Yes.
can change throughout the year. You could lose a job, you could get a promotion, you could do all kinds of things. Um, Reevaluate your job, the position that you're in. What do you
Yeah.
want? Do you want to stay? I mean, and it sounds like a lot of work, and it kind of can be that it can be a lot of work, but it's so worth it.
Yes.
If you really want to have the life that you want, a life you love, these are some of the things you have to do.
Yes. I love that. And that you mentioned, one of the things that, for example, in the financial industry that I am, it's that one of the things, financial need assessment that has to be done every year. Like we go to the doctor every year, we need to check our finance. Like you mentioned, we need to check every area of our life to make sure that
Yep.
we make the changes.
And if
And
anybody out there
so
wants to have an assessment done, let me know. I got them. I do free.
that's perfect. So, is there anything else that you like to cover?
I don't really think so. I mean, I just kind of want to catch everybody up and say, hey, welcome back. Feels good to be back.
Yes.
My dogs are
And
happy about it, as you can probably hear them. But
and I really missed this conversation. I think it's really rewarding. And it's not just for us to, in this conversation, was not just for us to talk about ourselves, but you to understand the type of questions that we're asking, the
yeah.
word of a year, the goals that we have, lesson learned from last year, also any fear that we
Mhm.
understand that we have to overcome, or any growth gap as well that we need to close in order to accept those goals, discipline that you need to create, and also prioritization, all the type of things we think are important when you're setting yourself, because that help you to set yourself for success, really.
Yeah. Well, and when people think about the changes that they want to make or goals they want to reach and stuff like that, there's a really well known saying that I like to remind myself whenever I'm facing a struggle. And that is, you can stay how you are. Well, this isn't the saying, but you can stay where you're at, or you can work for what you want. Both are going to be hard. Choose your hard, which is going to be
Yes.
more worth it.
And not choosing is a choice.
Not choosing is a choice.
Yes. So next week, we're going to be talking about habits,
Yes.
because we think it is so important to compensate. Now, at the beginning of the year, that we're talking about goal setting and everybody is on that. You mentioned this week about Friday.
Yes, the second Friday in January is known as Quitting Day because it
Yes.
is a day that most people abandon their New Year's resolutions. So we want to keep going. We want to keep encouraging you. And that's why we're going to be talking about building habits and continuing habits. So if you guys can stick with it just for an extra week, make it through Quitting Day. Don't
Yeah.
quit on Friday. Keep going. We're going to encourage you again on Tuesday. So we're not going to be back
Yes.
next Wednesday. I got to remember that. So yes, I probably need to change the intro song too because it says Wednesdays at 8. I got to change all that stuff. A lot of work to do.
Perfect. It was such a pleasure
It was
to be
wonderful to be back.
back. And we wish you that this year is going to be a fantastic year,
Yep.
that you set your intentions how you want it to continue. But be blessed. Make sure that you always, if you believe in something, have God at your forefront, because that
Absolutely.
helps you to guide, have you clarity in any area of your life.
Yes.
So we wanted to thank you and have a good night.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.